Let's see if everything is working in YouTube.
Where do you normally stream it to?
In Varaonda channel. I will send you the link here in the private chat when it appears in my YouTube channel. Okay, so here we are. Working is this link in YouTube.
Cool, I'll stick it in.
You can share this link. So we'll share in my Telegram group.
Oh, you got a Telegram group as well. Nice.
Yeah. Very useful Telegram with Sorare and stuff like that, like this.
Yeah. I can't stream generally because of time difference or live streaming.
Yeah.
Let me see.
You can stream in the night, in Japanese night.
Yeah.
To reach Europe.
There are a few Japanese players who are really going hard on it. Yeah, I should reach out to them. They didn't invite me to their meetup there.
Yeah. Allora, ben arrivati, buongiorno a tutti ragazzi. Siamo qui con Matsuyama, ora aspettiamo che arrivi un po' di gente e poi iniziamo. Matsuyama non si vuol far vedere, come vi avevo già accennato, vuole tenere l'anonimato e noi ovviamente condividiamo la sua scelta e facciamo sì che non scopriamo chi sia Matsuyama. So, good morning everyone. Matsuyama is here with us. Matsuyama is a JLEAGUE expert in Play Sharp. It's one of my pals in Play Sharp, and it's a fantastic Sorare manager, and he has a Patreon, Sorare Tactics. So after the live I will post every links for about Matsuyama. It's really a pleasure to have you here with me, Matsuyama. Good morning.
Good morning.
Or good afternoon, good evening.
Yeah, no, it's very dark here in Japan. It's 8 o'clock. Thank you very much for having me. I should say konbanwa, which is Japanese for good evening. Yes, I wouldn't say I'm an expert. I'd say a semi-amateur. That's as maximum as I can go. But it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Quindi ragazzi, ok, Matsuyama vi saluta, ovviamente sono le 8 in Giappone, dice che è un po' dark, un po' scuro, ovviamente, e non vuole essere definito esperto, ma un semi-amatore che insomma si interessa di JLEAGUE ed è molto contento ovviamente di essere qui. Io vi invito a lasciare domande ovviamente per lui. If you have any questions, guys, just write them down in the chat and I will read them. So don't be ashamed because Matsuyama, the great Matsuyama, is here with us. You are just I don't know, a mythological figure for the Italian community. Do you know it? Do you know that?
I didn't know that, no. I get some people talking to me, like I was saying before, they're disappointed I'm not Japanese. But I was Japanese for the Halloween weekend. It went down well. But yes, it's interesting always people's perceptions. But yeah, apologies I can't speak Italian. So I will try my best to speak in English and some Japanese if you want as well.
Wow, Japanese I will not understand. Maybe also our community will not. So let's.
It's okay. Just shuto for shot.
What?
Nice
shuto. It's the word for shot. Huh?
Yes, a nice keeper. That's it. That's all you need to say, and then you're fine. You're perfect in Japanese. JLEAGUE football.
Ragazzi, ovviamente è super inglese Matsuyama, anch'io l'ho scoperto quando ci ho parlato stamani, ho levato un attimo la grafica perché non era adeguata, secondo me molto meglio così, quindi parla inglesissimo, vive in Giappone da qualche anno e ci ha raccontato che basta dire shuto e nice keeper per riuscire insomma a parlare del calcio giapponese. Ok, iniziamo con let's start with some questions I have for you. I think we can divide our time together in two parts. First of all, I will talk a little bit with you about Sorare, if you want, and your vision of the game as we are now. So, the first question is this one. When did you enter Sorare and how?
Yes, I entered Sorare, from memory, it was November 2020. So I was very early, but it was kind of by luck, because I've been in crypto for a little while, so since about 2017, and my good friend, he knew I was into crypto and I love fantasy sports, so he told me, check this game out. And I was like, what's this? I pronounced it wrong. I was like, Sorare, okay, let me try it out. And I wasn't a fan because I saw how much goalkeepers cost, and I was like, I am not using my Ethereum for this. And this is when there was only less than 2,000 users. So I'm always looking at number of users and what is the entry level. So I wasn't like the hugest fan to begin with, but then I just entered in a team and I started watching Belgian football, and then I was addicted. I was setting alarms, waking up, but my first few teams were just hopeless. But I also knew I was moving back to Japan in a few months after, and Sorare having JLEAGUE, I thought to myself, this is a great excuse to go to JLEAGUE football that my wife can kind of accept. So I didn't need much motivation. But at that time, I didn't realise Sorare was early, but it was. It was only about 2,000 users. There was no, for example, Bundesliga. There was only maybe a handful of teams, not that many. But I really enjoyed learning about new leagues straight away, and I've always loved fantasy sports. But it was mainly my friends who suggested it. Yeah, that's how I got in.
So sorry, I will translate just a little bit of.
Sorry, I speak so quick.
Just hold to us. Benvenuto Andrea, ciao Todd, ciao a tutti ragazzi. Allora, avete un po' capito, spero, l'inglese comunque molto molto bello di Matsuyama, si capisce veramente tantissimo. E comunque, nel senso, lui si è avvicinato a Sorare perché un suo amico, suoi amici gliel'hanno segnalata quando ancora viveva in Inghilterra, e lui comunque era già dentro il mondo delle cripto, quindi mettere insieme una roba come fantasy football e le cripto gli piaceva, perché è una roba che comunque lui ha sempre seguito, gli è sempre stato dietro. E a un certo punto poi c'è stata anche l'occasione per lui di trasferirsi di nuovo in Giappone, e quindi ha unito l'utile al dilettevole. Sostanzialmente la moglie avrebbe accettato questa cosa e quindi si è cominciato a occupare della J-League, e niente, da lì poi insomma è nato il suo amore. Come vedete dalle immagini, questo è il suo account, si è iscritto nell'ottobre 2020. Now Matsuyama, do you have 181 Ethereum account now? We can see it in Sorare data.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
That is true.
You are a big one. Medium, big one.
Exactly. Well, I always look at it as where you started from and how much it's growing. So it's all relative, I think. But it's definitely because I had Ethereum before I joined Sorare, so I was actually anxious about using my my Ethereum on Sorare.
Sorry, a question. Did you enter with how much Ethereum in the platform?
At the beginning, I was only putting in. This was, by the way, when Ethereum was about $200-300. I put in, I think, 4 Ethereum to begin with. But
Ragazzi,
it was
scusa, sorry Mazzo, I will tell it in Italian. Quindi è entrato quando praticamente gli ho chiesto con quanto Ethereum è entrato quando Ethereum stava a $200-300, quindi molto 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 basso, ed è entrato con 4 Ethereum e ora ce ne ha 181.
But well done, really well done, well done. Testing it. So at that time, crypto was, there's so many projects and so many scams. So I wanted to test it and get a feeling. And also, if I enjoyed it. That was the most important thing to me. And I only started getting serious into it when I looked at the JLEAGUE. One, I realized I had good knowledge, but secondly, the number of users in the JLEAGUE or Asia was so low. So, in fact, in Division 2, there were more rewards than entries.
Wow.
So I was like, right, I don't need much excuse. I'll buy some actual players to super rares and even uniques at that time. So that definitely increased the amount of Ethereum I was putting in.
Capito ragazzi? Quindi praticamente lui è un po' come ci ha raccontato Deglingo, nel senso che è entrato molto presto, quindi praticamente nella D2 Asia non c'erano praticamente manager, davano più premi che manager, cioè presenti che partecipavano al gioco, e quindi in quel modo lui si è buttato dentro, ha fatto il suo investimento e via andare, insomma. Well, you were lucky to enter so soon. Matsu.
Definitely. But it's also it's bittersweet because I could have entered more, and I'm always thinking. I remember when Bayern Munich started out on Sorare, and I saw Kimmich, and I was like, I love Kimmich. He's obviously one of the best players, but I was like, oh, I won't do it. I'll wait. So there's always some regrets there. But yes, I was definitely very lucky, and I didn't see Sorare growing as much as it did at that time for sure. But yeah, that feels like a lifetime ago, to be honest. Yeah.
No. 2 years after you entered the game, what do you think the game is now? I mean, the changes that have taken place from the beginning. What do you think now we can say about Sorare? It's growing faster? No, this isn't true. It's not growing faster, but it's still growing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the moon waxes and wanes, it goes up and down.
Yeah, the game itself.
I always look at users and how many people are staying in. So I was concerned many times about the point of entry. So I'm always looking at new users. What is it for them? So when Limited first came out, for example, I wasn't so sure. Not for myself, but I was thinking, there's no threshold here, for example. So there were times where I was worried in terms of, can this continue growing? But I also know.
Sorry, Matsuyama. Sorry. So there was a time in which in the game wasn't a threshold.
No, sorry. Like as in when they released limited cards.
Okay.
I was wondering how this would be attractive to new users. Even though I wasn't going to be playing limited, I was thinking, can this grow as a platform? Is it attractive enough? So there was times where I was having doubts over Sorare, but fundamentally I was always thinking about, this is the first fantasy game that's bringing all these leagues together. And so when a new league joined, be it from Italy or from Turkey, etc., this huge community would come in and so passionate. So I always knew it was something very different to other games.
Ok, ragazzi, quindi praticamente ha detto che è tutto la cosa che più lo entusiasma comunque del gioco è che è difficile trovare un gioco di questo tipo, fantasy game, dove ci sono tutto questo tipo di competizioni, ciao Angron. E quindi sostanzialmente questa cosa comunque lo conforta, l'ha confortato anche rispetto al fatto, no, che magari aveva paura che l'introduzione del limited nell'agosto dell'anno scorso, ricordo, sono state introdotte, potesse creare dei problemi alla piattaforma, ma questo non è successo. And do you think Matsuyama now the platform is healthy or not?
I think I look at it longer term. So right at this moment, sentiment is both ways. One reason is with the World Cup. So without information about the World Cup, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
And also, it means planning for the next few weeks or the next few months is more difficult. And also with the NBA, which I'm a fan of, by the way, it's had an impact on the football side of things. But overall, I think it's a huge positive, but I can understand why people have concerns. And I'm looking, like, even my plans now, when I'm looking at my gallery, even if it's big, I'm still thinking about, after the World Cup, which leagues are going to start first, where do I need to make changes, and then also for the J League, when is that going to start, and then next summer. So I look at it pretty long term, so I'm still positive, but I can understand concerns, and I think, you know, gallery prices may change in the short term until we get a World Cup announcement and information about that.
Yeah, the announcement of the World Cup will be a really switch for the game because it will start in about 14 days maybe, and we don't know nothing yet.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I think there's just so much hype about the World Cup. For me, it's an easy win for Sorare to give information, give merchandise, you know, get people involved. So I'm a little bit surprised, but who knows what might be around the corner. And like I say, with the NBA, etc., they're probably juggling a lot of balls. But at the same time, I'm quite relaxed about it. In that I'm always just looking at. I don't mind when markets go down because that's when I buy. Not just in anywhere. It's if I'm confident with some product or with a player, like Higashiguchi, yeah, Gamba stay up. He'll spike up in price, but so there's always things there that are available if you're looking in the right places, I think.
Quindi diciamo che, ragazzi, più o meno si bilancia la questione per lui fra appunto quelli che possono essere punti di forza e punti di debolezza. Ovviamente questa cosa che non è stata ancora annunciata, quale sarà la competizione per la Coppa del Mondo, è una roba un po' pazzesca che mette un po' d'ansia anche a lui, ovviamente, come a tutti noi. Però bisogna guardare anche i punti di forza e quindi già pensare a che cosa potrà succedere il prossimo anno, insomma, i Gashiguchi, se il Gamba retrocederà, e quindi decidere poi come intervenire. We have a question from the chat. Do you prefer to play with rare, super rare, or limited? Do you have a scarcity that you prefer, or you like to play with every scarcities at the moment?
I have been driving people to get into rares for a long time. One, because of the threshold, but also you can build. Not that I'm against limited, and I can understand its appeal, but I think once you understand the game a little bit, rares is the place to go. And that's where JLEAGUE, for example, and K-League has really good prices. So yeah, but I play everything, to be honest. So especially the specialist limited, specialist rare, and even specialist super rare. So I have a lot of junk super rares that suddenly I can use. So it's nice. I mean, if I can play it, I'll just play it. Like I'll get a tier 3 super rare from a league I don't know anything about, but if they hit below 40 as the last 15, so I can use it in specialist, I will. But for new users or people who are using limited, I have been suggesting a lot, and I've done a few posts, and I'll do some more posts on it about how to build for.
Maybe if you do it, this post you can make it will help a lot of managers. With that, you have a bunch of experience on the platform, so you can help new buys to enter well and to play hard on the on
But for me, it's like a balance. It's, if you know a league and you enjoy it, play it.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at it from like, I'm trying to play as a fantasy support, so just numbers almost to a degree, and then I think rares is the best value in terms of a new user.
Do you prefer to play rare or also rare pro? Because I think rare pro
rare pro is my favorite, but it depends on the situation. So my go-to is, it's always where the most value return. So I'm fortunate because I can play Champ Europe, so that's my first team. But if I'm a new user or not able to buy Champ Rare, Champ Europe, which I don't recommend because the prices are ridiculous, then I always recommend All-Star Pro and use super rares from America and Asia.
Quindi scusa, sorry a moment, so ragazzi, quindi tutto un discorso mega che spero che abbiate capito. Parlava di specialist, gioca le specialist limited, specialist rara, specialist super rara. Infatti diceva che c'ha a tons, no, di trash, no, di roba che utilizza proprio la specialist super rara. Infatti andate poi a controllare ovviamente la sua rosa su Sorare Data è questa. E poi dice che lui consiglia comunque, lui gioca anche Champion rara perché ha avuto la fortuna di prenderli quando ancora non costavano tantissimo, però lui quello che consiglia è lo Star Pro e comprando super rare in America o in Asia. So you can go on, Matsu. I did a little.
Yeah, sorry, I feel like I'm in the EU Parliament. You're my translator.
But it is working. It is working.
Yeah, you're doing great. But no, especially with right now when America and Asia's going into off season, and there's like friends or people I've met, I've just suggested players too, and I know they've done well for them. Especially players who are a bit older, so maybe in their early 30s. I know that can be off-putting if you see it. If I go to a new league and I see somebody's 35, I'm like, no way. But a lot of times
in Japan is still a young man, 30.
Yeah, with the green tea, you know, these guys are dancing away, they're fine, you know. They got 80-year-olds, you know, dancing in nightclubs on a daily basis. But it's a different culture, but it's also just look at the numbers, and also even if that player within 1 year gets you the rewards of their value, it's worth it. So
yeah,
and not just in So Rare, I generally try to avoid hype. If I see somebody on Twitter saying buy this stock or buy this player, he's the next best thing, I'm like, no way. So always do your own research, but my suggestion is all-star rare and get some super rares from Asia and America and do a bit of research or find somebody who knows. And this is the perfect time when we're entering off seasons and general sentiment is lower.
By the way, do you are in hype for the incoming Premier League in Sorare?
Yeah. Sorry, say that again?
Yeah. Do you will buy some Liverpool, some Manchester City, some Aston Villa?
My tactic is always to win those type of players.
Yeah.
So even like under 23, my team is strong, but it's 60-70% rewards. And the Premier League, my gut feeling is you'll get such a FOMO reaction and so many die-hard fans. And that's why I'm so happy, you know, my two beloved teams, Ehime FC and Derby County, are so rubbish that they're in the third division, so they'll never be on so rare.
Maybe one day. Maybe
they are, and I'll buy every single card, and my ETH levels will probably hit, you know, 10 ETH, 5% win rate. But yeah, I think you naturally will go to the teams you like, which is no bad thing. But for me personally, the Premier League will be where I'll be selling cards. I won't be buying.
Selling and not buying. Okay.
Yeah, in the same way that I'll be selling JLEAGUE cards, or even when Challenger is signed up, I'll be selling into the hype. So you're never going to get it.
And you will make a lot of Ethereum. You will make a lot of Ethereum in that way.
Well, yeah, just to use it in a different way. But yeah, the Premier League, I think, it's great for the platform. And I have a lot of knowledge on Premier League, but so many people have knowledge of the Premier League. Yeah. So I'm always trying to look at leagues people don't have knowledge, so you can get an edge.
So this is why I go straight on to K-League and then J-League 2 when I entered the game, because I think that there will be less people than in Europe, and in fact it was like that.
Yeah. I mean, when I was some of my the players I bought, I think my 5-year-old son was just looking and saying, "Buy him." It was at the time when Sorare was so in its infancy. But yeah, it's a good tactic, and it's getting more competitive as more users come in. But even now, there's leagues, say the Colombian League or Peru, for example.
Ecuador.
Yeah, Ecuador as well. So yeah, but even now, if you know when J-League is going to start or K-League is going to start, and you've worked out if people are going on the army,
Mama, Jimchon is always a mess for all of us.
I think I'm going to start a degree, start a course on K-League transfers. But yeah, I think generally just go away from the hype is the way, and find somebody that knows what they're talking about and read up about it. But yeah, All-Star Pro is my go-to.
Yeah, an interesting question about the market, Sorare market in the chat. Angron ask you if you think that we have joined at the bottom of Asian prices, or there is, or maybe we can get it in about 3-4 weeks. What do you think about it?
I think I think it's really hard to time the bottom, and I've made that mistake before.
With the World Cup also.
Yeah, I remember when I think it was Cruise, for example, and I was, I'll wait. Before I knew it, I can't buy him anymore. I think we're close to the bottom, if not hit it already, based on last year and the year before's sentiment, and also a lot of people have been messaging me earlier, I found. So I feel like it depends on the player as well. So certain players that, especially the elite players, the ones that everyone's looking for, they, I think, will maintain their prices. I think those bottoms have hit. And it depends on the player as well.
Avete capito, ragazzi? Non è così facile individuare il bottom, probabilmente ancora qualcosa. Yeah, looking for good. He wrote last season the bottom for Asia was before the season ended. See, about one or 2 weeks before the last match in K-League and also in J-League.
Yeah, I think I remember Okuno's Super Rare went for 0.05, like a ridiculously low price.
It was about in this period last year at the bottom. No, last year at the bottom was in this period.
Yeah, because the season was slightly different last year. It ended a little bit later, but everybody knew it was going to start earlier. But yeah, it was around this time.
We don't have at least the date for the new season of J-League.
It always coincides with the cherry blossom season. Sakura in Japan. So we'll know it'll be in late February. So not the exact weekend, but it will be then. And it will be your standard season next year, where also the ACL will happen later.
Yeah.
So you won't get, and touch wood, you won't get as much rotation. This season was very, very different because it was so cramped up. And that's why all my predictions were 65%, because I don't know if these guys are playing. There's just so much rotation happening.
A lot of rotation, also in Korea.
Safe number I found. People don't complain, and you look okay. But yeah, next season is going to be very different. But I think I was looking at the market before when I sent you this watch list. The prices look good to me on certain players. And it's always difficult for me to suggest players because it depends on what your gallery is. So it's very important to buy what you need, not just for the sake of it, unless you're a trader, which I generally am not.
Do you prefer to play or to trade? To play, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely to play. I feel like if I was trying to trade, then I would be tweeting, "Buy this player, he's amazing." I would be becoming a grifter. But yeah, for me, it's 100%. I enjoy playing, to be honest. I enjoy it more than trading, but I understand the general cycles. And also, if a player's injured, that's really good. You can do well by trading it. And even now, for example, with rares in Asia for the top 5 teams, let's say, who are starters, they are low. And even players like, I was looking at Eduardo, for example. If you compare him to other players, and this is the thing, I can understand he looks like he's not been playing much, but there's history to it. So if you go to similar players on the similar players, so it's third tab, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tab.
Yeah, similar players.
And then you can. This is my favorite area because you can change it so many different ways. So just get rid of age range.
Age range, yeah, okay.
And then just search it.
I hope Sorare Data will work this morning, because yesterday I have a lot of problems.
Yeah, the hamsters need feeding.
Yeah.
Get the wheels going around. So yeah, I don't pay attention that much to age. I just look at how that player compares to other players in all leagues. Of course, you need to know their history and they're not, about to be transferred. But in general, similar players is where I go, and then I research more. But say, for example, Eduardo, yeah, if you look at his L40, L15, they're all really good. And the concern was he's being rotated a lot, but that was mainly because he was injured, which got corrected. So there's a few examples like this as well.
Well, in fact, if you compare it with Lucas Martinez Quarta, who is not such a good player, 1 Ethereum and 500, it's very comparison with 0524 from Eduardo.
If you click on Otamendi, for example, and check his price graph. So I bought him not that long ago, and it was exactly for this reason. So if you go to, I think I bought him for about 0.3 in around August or September.
Yeah.
Because all I did was check L40 and similar players, and I was like, why? I know he's older, but Benfica are obviously great team.
This is a fantastic trick, Matsuyama, that you are telling us. Very, very good.
Yeah. Next trick, you have to pay $9.99. I'm joking. No, but
that's remember that. Oh well, I will.
But the similar players is really, really good place to at least start researching players you may not know.
So this is the site, Sorare Tactics, and there is the Patreon if you want to help Matsuyama with his work. So you can see here, guys.
Yeah, I need to update that.
Because Matsu is a very great one, expert. He told us he's not so expert, but I think he's a very good expert, great expert from JLEAGUE.
Thank you very much. I mean, there's only a few people in JLEAGUE, but yeah, there's I think similar players is such a good way to find not just JLEAGUE but any other league. So if there's a player that you know, who's performing well, you can just compare it, and always know you can put this in All-Star Rare Pro, and then you can win so many good cards.
Well, that is the goal of every manager in Sorare.
Of course, it's not that easy, of course, but I think it's...
No, it's not that easy.
Yeah. But it's the way I scout, in any case. And I think it's about just that decision-making again and again. There's no easy way to do it, of course. And if you've got a lot of Ethereum, of course you've got a huge advantage. So it depends on your individual case. But for me, I always try to look for where value is.
Avete capito, ragazzi? Sorry, I will translate something, Matsu. Quindi sostanzialmente lui dice che lui guarda laddove c'è la value. Quindi usa questo trick dei similar player, e se vede che c'è uno che ha in quel momento un prezzo similare a quello del giocatore che mette in primo piano, sostanzialmente lo va a comprare, così come ha fatto con Otamendi, che effettivamente Otamendi lo è andato a prendere a 0,3 ad agosto. Questo è un bel trick, un bel trick davvero. What do you think about this incredible here in J1?
Yeah, it's been amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think I was so surprised how many people will get waking up and getting involved and watching it as well. But I think because it's so unpredictable in general, and also a lot of entertainment, I've really enjoyed it. And I think, you know, Hiroshima, nobody saw being top 4, for example. I was looking at my predicted.
It's Sanfrecce, the team that you support in Japan.
Sorry, just broke up there.
I'm still here. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I got you back now.
Matsu?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was asking you if Sanfrecce is your team in that you support in JLEAGUE.
Well, I mean, I'm a big Ehime FC supporter. I'll be there on Sunday. Me and the 800 fans together in J3. But no, my teams, I would say, are Gamba, Osaka.
Gamba. Okay.
Because it's close by, it's only an hour flight from here. It'll take I can get a ferry across. It's not far. And then also Kashima Antlers, mainly because of how they played. I've always enjoyed. Other than this season has been very, very bad. But in previous years, their philosophy and their style, I've always enjoyed. And Yokohama, I can't enjoy because of Muscat. Sorry, Kevin Muscat and his rotation.
This is common to all the community.
I just want them to lose and him to look sad. I know that sounds petty, but it's the truth. He's caused too much heartache for so many rare managers.
So how do you approach to deploy formation on Play Sharper? I have this.
Yeah,
because
it's a journey.
It's the same work I do. So I
I think. Well, just to let you know, in Japan there is no fantasy football, so nobody plays fantasy football.
Secondly, ragazzi, in Giappone non c'è fantasy football, nessuno ci gioca.
So there are no predicted teams or predicted team sites, and the ones that do come are usually after and are just hopeless. For example, they include. My favorite was when they included a player that had retired, a year ago. So you have to start from scratch, which I enjoy, to be honest. But yeah, for each team, I actually have a lot of different links to websites, blogs, Instagram, Twitter, etc.
It's a huge work. It's a huge work.
It's huge work, but it actually helps with me. I was talking to my wife earlier. I said, my Japanese knowledge and my kanji knowledge is so bespoke to players in J-League football. So I was like, how do you know this very hard kanji? And I was like, yeah.
So do you know where is now Douglas from Kashiwa Reysol?
Where he's in our hearts.
He disappeared again.
He's in our hearts and he's on our minds. He's forever here. Yeah, just so you know, the fans don't want him to sign on. They want him out because.
Okay.
But I don't know if this is where fan talk and reality could be different. They're not happy because he keeps disappearing like Casper the Ghost. But there's no information, so they've actually questioned his mindset. They think he just wants the money and he doesn't really care. Okay. That was the message I was getting from the Kashiwa message boards. If that's true or not, I don't know. But yeah, I was very surprised. He just suddenly disappeared. I think he was smiling in a training photo a few days before. But yeah, it's a lot of work, but the reason I do it is it helps me with my Japanese, and it's kind of, I like a challenge.
Yeah.
But like you know yourself, there's a lot of surprises. And also, one thing that's hard to communicate is in the Japanese language, people talk in riddles. So they will never give you a direct answer.
No.
It's always maybe.
Yeah.
So even like if I'm talking to my Japanese friend and I say, "Oh, we're gonna meet in the park on Friday," they're like, "Chotto ne." I'm like, "Chotto ne." Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna go. I go to the park. Not there, because that actually 100% no. It's like so. There's a cultural element that happens in press conferences. I find amusing to try and work out. It's interesting.
Avete capito, ragazzi, la questione? Cioè, così questo ci spiega ancora meglio cosa succede in Corea, ma ovviamente cosa succede principalmente anche in Giappone. Praticamente che il loro modo di comunicare è sempre sul condizionale, cioè potrebbe essere, potrebbe succedere, maybe, no? E quindi sia in positivo che in negativo. Quindi anche quando vengono fatte le conferenze stampa, in realtà non si può essere molto di sicuri di ciò che viene detto. Ok. The things that you just said for sure will help the Italian community to understand better which is the work behind the predictions on Play Sharper, because so many people...
I think it's not just with JLEAGUE, it's with any league, and I've always said it's avoid the risks. So even this game week now with the Champions League, I was only playing teams who were trying to qualify.
Okay.
So if a team's already out, so Barcelona, okay, I'm not going to play those players because it's such a risk. So as soon as there's a risk, just don't, if you can, of course, don't play them or play them in less important divisions. And that's the same in any league. And that's why I use the percentages I do, but it's trying to give the risk. Sometimes I just don't know. The manager's talked in riddles, I have no idea. So I will say, 60%. I don't know. And if you can, don't use them. What's going to help a lot next year is COVID testing is not going to happen.
Finally.
Unless a player has symptoms.
Finally.
Because that has been the possibility where you have teams, that have COVID positive results, but you just don't know which players.
Yeah.
So next year,
player A, player B, player C.
And again, that's a cultural thing where it's all about
privacy. Privacy respect.
Yeah, exactly. It's hilarious, but yeah, it is what it is. But next year, the good news is that's ending, so it's going to make it easier to work out.
Yeah. What do you think? Who will be relegated at the end of this weekend?
As you can see, I've got Higashi, so it can't be Gamba. No, I think so. Wata have got already. Shimizu, they've got such a good side. They will go down, I think.
Okay, so Jubilo, so Iwata, Shimizu.
Iwata have gone. Shimizu, I think, will go. I actually quite like Kyoto, but I think it'll either be them or Gamba in the playoff. But I think Gamba have just been on fire, and they're playing Antlers this weekend, and I honestly think they'll win. So I think by default it will be who are Fukuoka playing? No, Fukuoka playing somebody stronger. I forget who, but they
play against Urawa.
Oh yeah. Sorry. So yeah, I think it will be either them or Kyoto in the playoff. Again, the playoff is going to be interesting. I can't call it, so I don't know. I'm not a big fan of these playoffs. I think it should be straight up and down. But yeah, it's hard because, and also when teams are relegated, especially Shimizu, because they've got some good players, they are ones to keep an eye on.
What do you think about Thiago Santana? In fact, will remain.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite strikers.
Will remain in Shimizu if we will be relegated, or if we will find another team?
He's gone. He won't stay. I don't think he'll stay even if they stay up, to be honest. He is. Okay. A lot of teams are after him. And again, I don't know his contract, but I know teams are after him, and that includes outside of the J League. So I've been tempted. I mean, I was bidding on his super rare not that long ago, so I wasn't too. It's one of those where I just believe in the quality of the player, and if I get it wrong and he ends up in Saudi Arabia or something, so be it. However, he's such a quality player, and it's so apparent. It's one to keep an eye on for sure to see what happens. But even other players at Shimizu,
Yamahara, Matsuoka, there are a bunch of
exactly the younger players. They're easier to be picked up on. So just looking at last year when Yokohama FC, Tokushima went down.
Yeah,
a lot of their players ended up in J1, and you don't have to preempt it. You can just wait for it to happen and then buy. There's not that many people watching it as it is European football, or they're not aware of how strong those players are. So I've been telling people to be patient with it. It's better to be patient and right than just to speculate, and then you're stuck with a player in J2 for a year, worthless. But there are definite players there that are Shimizu in particular. And if, heaven forbid, Gamba go down, there's just so many good players there.
Well, a lot of them in Gamba.
Yeah. But it's really interesting because I enjoy it. Last game of the season, it should be like this, where it's everything to play for at the bottom and at the top.
There is a question from the chat, Matsu. What do you think about Urawa keeper's situation? Do you think Nishikawa will play for another year, or maybe Suzuki finally will be the starter goalkeeper?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. It's the one that's come up a lot. I think, as you might be aware, the manager just resigned, so there's going to be a new manager, which may change things. Nishikawa is the main guy there. So I'm waiting to see. I mean, Suzuki is considered a generational player in Japan, as in there's so much hype around him, and for good reason. However, I don't recommend getting him because he is priced now, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Still crazy price at the moment.
Exactly. My feeling is Nishikawa, unless it's up to him. It's hard to explain how much power he has. So if he wants to carry on, he will. And if it is a foreign manager coming in, he will be basically the manager for the Japanese players at the team, and also the person, the conduit between the two. So his importance will be huge. But in general, the older keepers are so important.
Yeah, there is a similar situation, I think, in about Kashima Antlers with Suntai, Kwang Suntai, and Oki, or Ryong in Frontale. They are all old keepers.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is just one where I just watched even just highlights, and you can quickly tell. Like when a keeper's bad, you can tell. And I don't want to name certain players. I will, I don't know. But he was. I watched some games and he's jumping up, and he's just missing everything.
Yeah.
And you're like, no. And if you watch Gashiguchi, he's just shouting at everybody, and he's jumping around like there's no tomorrow. So yeah, it depends on the club. But the big thing with the young keepers, including Tani, and the big negative thing that's come out is their lack of communication. So they're not able to confidently talk to their defenders. So yeah, it's one where I will pick up players under 23s where I can, but I much prefer the older keepers.
Okay.
In general, I just find under 23.
What do you think about Tani's situation, Matsu? Next year he will go back to Gamba, but he will stay there. So Gashiguchi will go on the bench, or what will happen there?
So my feeling is, so it depends. So if both teams stay up, then I'm the likelihood would be Tani would stay on for another year at Shonan.
Okay.
So he earlier in the season was dropped, for example. He's still growing and seen as huge potential and a future Japanese national keeper. But he was very thankful to be given the chance to be loaned out. He said there's not that type of rivalry in terms of keepers in Japan. It's much more about respect and learning what's going on, and then your teacher almost tells you, okay, it's your turn. And that's what's happening with Nishigawa and Suzuki as well. However, if one of those teams goes down, the situation changes. But Higashiguchi has shown no sign he wants to retire yet, to be honest.
Okay. So he will start next season in J2 or J1?
I don't know if they go down, because I think he's been there since for so long. Like, he was also from that area. I think he went to university elsewhere and had a different team. But yeah, people, you might know about in Japan culture, salarymen and staying in one company for a long time. That still exists. So I'm not sure what would happen if Gamba went down, but my feeling is he would stay on. Because Gamba are a huge side. So there's a big fan base wanting them to then progress up again. And they will still have money, and that won't be a problem. But let's see what happens on Saturday.
Yeah.
If they do stay up, just buy him. Fingers are ready, go. The easiest flip in history.
Okay, Matsu, I will have a last question for you. Some young players you want to recommend from J-League for the next season? Two of them. Two names. Two names
for next season. I think they're both playing, but I would go with Fuji at Nagoya. The reason I've said it so many times, it's probably getting boring. He's playing so many games, and he's been groomed to be a leader of that side. So that's what I want to see. And also, when I watch him, he is good.
He will remain in Nagoya next year.
Yes. Because that's another thing, is when certain players almost do too well, they're off to Belgium, and it can really change their scores as well. But the big thing for him is he scores well even when Nagoya concede. He's a starter. And the amount of praise he gets from the manager and also from Nakatani is huge, and also just from watching the games. So I compare him to, say, Sekigawa for Kashima. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I know sometimes his scores could be good, but he makes some big mistakes. And that makes me worried about him. And I really, really like Fuji. And number one, I would say, is there's so many. I would go with Matsumura, Yuta Matsumura at Antlers. So he was injured for a huge part of his season, and he's just come back now. He was a starter for Antlers before he got injured, and physically he is well built. He's box to box, and he's still young. I think he's 21. And Antlers is the perfect place for him. And I know that Araki, for example, he's at Antlers as well, was player of the year, and he's hardly played this year. So, and also there'll be so watch out for when the transfers, if any transfers happen with the team, who is going to be replacing that player?
Yeah.
So, for example, at Frontale last season, when Mitoma left and Hatate left as well, you got the younger players just stepped up. So it's important to look at when a player comes in. I know your name asked me for two, but I'll give you one more. Taisei Miyashiro. He's played for. He's a Kawasaki player, but he's playing for Saga.
Sagan, which is the name again? Sorry,
Miyashiro.
Miyashiro. Okay, ecco qua.
So the interesting thing about him is Kawasaki Frontale fans are wanting him back. They've kind of had enough of the strikers there, Dario, etc. And again, another player, if you watch him, I'm not suggesting he's 100% going to do it, but he has shown a lot of potential. And he's been on loan at Tokushima last season and did well.
He will go back to Frontale next season, or he will play for another season in Sagan?
I think he'll go back. I think he's at the age where he's ready.
This means that finally Leandro Damião will go back to Brazil, or maybe he will at least.
I think his contract's very juicy.
Okay.
He did the classic: play well, get a nice contract, and have a siesta. But yeah, I think teams in Brazil can't afford him, so and he's not motivated at all, is my feeling. I hope he comes back. I hold him. I mean, he just doesn't feel himself. And Kawasaki, they lack a striker. Santana has been linked to him, but again, I'm not sure they can bring him in because of the foreigner rule. I think all their players are on relatively long contracts.
Yeah.
There's one to look at. But there's a lot of young talent, but I think you can be patient and see when a big transfer happens, look at that team and see who's going to replace them, because that's where usually the breakthrough guys come.
Okay. I think it's been a fantastic morning with you, Matsuyama, and I thank you on behalf of the whole community, Italian community, to be here with us with such infos and such greatest things that you have told to us. I think I will invite you again if you want to talk about maybe the market in about 1 month. If you want, you can come back here.
Anytime. I'll get my son involved as well.
Yeah, wow, it would be great.
He's telling me off because I'm not. He likes the blue colours, so he's like, buy more blues. Yeah.
So, bye bye Matsu. Ciao ragazzi, ci si vede più tardi verso le 2:30. Bye bye.
Thanks a lot. Cheers guys. Bye.
Bye bye.